Hello, everybody.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, idea of sharing. Thanks, everyone, for being here. If we can, as our custom has been the last 3 to 4 weeks, if we can take a moment of silence to hold space for Ukraine and other places around the world that are experiencing conflict and war, I think it would be a nice gesture. So let's all take a minute and hold space for that. Thanks, guys. Over to you, Jen.
Thank you, Emily, and welcome everyone to Learning and Mending. I'm Jen, and tonight we're going to start off with this week's Embroidery of the Week. And this one is from Rowena King. I don't know if she's on here. She was last week, but this is her Hermit Thrush and Yerba Santa, and it is spectacular. I love the detail and the stitching and the shading, and what I find so incredible. I don't know if you can see, it's the sweetest, tiniest stitches that had to have taken 1,000,001 years. It's just amazing. So thank you, if you are here, and I will now introduce myself. I'm Jen, and we'll right now do a quick introductions, what we're working on, our pronouns, where we're calling in from. So, as I said, I'm Jen. I'm zooming in from Studio City. I use she, her pronouns. And tonight I am continuing my common raven, which in light of Rowena's, I'm now thinking I need to pull back my long stitches and go for tinier stitches. But that's where I am. And I am going to pass this over to Sylvia.
I'm driving. I'm Sylvia. I'm in Pasadena. I use she, her pronouns. I am working on recovering from an injury, and so I will be babying myself this evening. Perhaps I will pull up my thread and needle when I get home. Thank you. And I will pass it to Andrea.
Hey, everybody. I'm Drea. I'm calling in from Windsor Square, Los Angeles on Zoom, she, her pronouns. And I have just like this tiny bit of border left, hoping to finish it tonight if I don't get too distracted. And it's the Underground Network. So I will now pass it on to Alex.
Hi, everybody. I'm Alex, and I am also working on The Hermit. And I think I'm excited because I'm gonna finish it tonight. So good luck, Jen, on that small stitching. It's a lot of fun. I'm happy to be here with everybody and listening in the reading. Really excited about that. And I'll pass it on to Stefano.
Hi everyone, this is Stefano from Los Angeles, California, United States, and I'm here very happy to be with you all as always, and yeah, this is amazing. I'm gonna pass it on to Lauren and Roxanne.
Hi, I'm Lauren.
And I'm Roxanne.
I use she, they pronouns,
She, her pronouns.
and I am in Topanga, California.
And so am I.
Happy to be here tonight.
Me too. And I get to work on the common raven,
Oh.
which is Lauren's common raven.
I got lucky, and I am working on my uncommon bee. I'm passing on to Giggly Kelly over there.
The uncommon bee. Hi everybody. Kelly here, she, her, they. And tonight I need to pull out my embroidery again, but I was just realizing I have this spaghetti squash that I'm going to be working on figuring out what to make with it. So if anybody has any suggestions, that's what I'm going to be working on tonight. And I'm up in near Seattle area. And I will pass it on to, let me see my gallery view, Mr. Aaron.
Hello, I'm calling from Metabolic Studio in Los Angeles, and I am working in a wood shop, cleaning, fixing, and organizing, something I tend to do every Thursday night. I'm going to pass this on to Rowena.
Hi everyone, I'm Rowena Koenig calling in from Los Angeles, Tongva land. I use she, her pronouns. Thank you, Jen, for the shout out for my hermit thrush. It did take 1,000,001 years, but I am now excited to be starting a new cell. And I am working with the sparkly blue thread to start because it was irresistible. I will pass it to Emily.
Thanks, Rowena. Nice to see you here, and nice to see your beautiful embroidery and your garden behind you there. Always happy to be with this gentle, supportive group of people. I'm in Echo Park, she, her pronouns. I have my two dogs with me, Bucky and Lulu, interspecies connections. And I'm going to be sharing the screen tonight. and also collaborating on the audiovisual meditation to take us out into the beyond tonight. And yeah, just happy to be here. Let me pass it over to Kavi.
Thanks, Emily. Hi, everyone. Cody Lowell calling in from Sacramento using he, him pronouns. We're going a little bit of sketching tonight, and I'll pass it over to Olan.
Hello, everybody. Olan using she, her pronouns in West Hollywood, working on the many stitched carbon and mycelium exchange, mycelium carbon exchange.
Wow.
Thank you. And I'll pass it on to Kaz.
Hi, it's Kaz, and I'm here in the Mojave Desert working on my mushrooms, but I don't have my video on, so I can't show you, but I'm really happy to be here, and I'm she, her pronouns, and yeah, just happy to be with y'all. Emily, did you just go?
I did.
Tell us more.
Is Caroline here?
I'm not sure, but I will take it over from here for right now. If you didn't have an opportunity to introduce yourself, there will be time later this evening during discussion and to share with what you're working on. For those of you that just joined, welcome to Learning and Mending. Since the pandemic began, Metalbox Studio has moved our weekly open studio practice to Zoom. This is our 7th syllabus, and connecting all of them is the embroideries we continue to make and collect of living systems we discover as we regenerate the floodplain we're salvaging on Gabrielino land. If you need another or have not received an embroidery kit from us featuring native plants, birds, microscopic organisms that Metabolic Studio is currently cultivating on its project sites, please send your name and mailing address to info@metabolicstudio.org. And Cindy will drop that information into the chat bar. She Braids Together follows syllabi on abolitionist writing, Fires of the West, Anna Sings The Mushroom at the End of the World, Freetop Capra's Web of Life, and The Commons. This time around, we focused on one text, Braiding Sweet Grass. Robin Wall Kimmerer explores our more than human teachers and braids indigenous wisdom, scientific knowledge, and the wisdom of plants to tell us stories about the world. The world that is open to us through this text is the commons in the truest sense. It is a world of reciprocity and careful listening. Thank you, Izzy Santana, for interweaving Tending the Commons and She Braids Together by curating this selection from Kimmerer's book. This series centers listening as our guide. There is not one specific leader, but rather a collection of ears and voices. Please join us in reading selections and guiding the discussion afterwards. In earlier syllabi, we suggest this book be read together aloud. When you hear a pause in the reading, please feel free to unmute yourself and begin where the last person left off. You don't have to read. We also welcome you to enjoy a gentle and supportive space of listening. We invite you to stand at the precipice of Zoom's silence and stare it down. Even relish the charged silence of crafting together. Our evening will close with an interpretive offering from our collection of videos. Thank you, Emily Lacey, for this offering. For the last 10 weeks on our social media, we have shared photographs of native prairie grass by Jim Richardson and Lynn Benson's art, all courtesy of Beach Museum at Kansas State University. Thank you to Linda Duke, curator at the Beach Museum, for additionally coordinating the writings by the Kansas State University community. And now, before we get going, I'm going to pass it actually over to Kelly Sky, and she will give us a sneak preview of what is to come in our next series.
I like the way you built the anticipation, that sneak preview. Hi, everybody, and welcome. I just wanted to let you know, because we're wrapping up this series, that we'll be starting a new series that we're calling right now Bison and Range. And the fun part about this is that we're going to continue to hear from badass female Indigenous activists like Robin Wall Kimmerer. So we're going to move into readings from writers like Winona LaDuke. Many of you might know of her. She's quite outspoken and well-known activist, Ojibwe activist from the White Earth Nation in northwestern Minnesota. And also authors like Leanne Beta Samosake Simpson. I want to get that right. An Anishinaabe activist from the Great Lakes region of Canada and the United States, amongst others. They are living in the Great Plains of our continent, which will be the kind of how big is here space that we'll be meditating on in the next series, is the Great Plains, which spans more than 180 million acres across 5 US states. So it's quite exciting. Through their writings, we're going to learn about indigenous movements for returning the bison to its ancestral territory, which historically literally stretched from Alaska to the Gulf of Mexico, you guys. It's incredible. And we'll continue to confront, as in the tradition of this group, which I love, we'll continue to confront colonization in its many past and present forms, and the urgent need for Indigenous and non-Indigenous people to work together towards systemic change. I'm really excited about the series. It's been a challenging topic. I definitely want to move towards it with great care and respect. But these writers, these Indigenous activists that I'm starting to find in this exploration, they're going to be wonderful teachers for us. And so I'm really getting excited about this. And plus, the bison themselves have so much to offer about regenerative cycles and symbiosis and deep learning. So I'm really excited. As you can tell, I'm going to put in a full description that has more details and some guiding questions and stuff that we've written up in the chat for those of you that are interested. And I also just wanted to mention, before I pass it on to Izzy to start our readings, Jen, are we going to have some exciting new embroidery images possibly for this next series? Is that on the agenda?
Well, yes, it is.
Yes,
So
I think we're going to have two. We're going to have some in keeping with the interdependence and the symbiosis. We're going to have at least one prairie grass and one bison range, and we're working on it. But
nice.
the series starts 3 weeks from today on the 14th. So there's, if you want one, if you let us know now, whatever we come up with, you'll have it by the start.
Nice. Perfect. And so I will pop this description into the chat and I will pass it on to Izzy so we can get started.
Thank you, Kelly. Sorry, you guys, if you can hear a jackhammer. My kind neighbors decided to do construction from sundown to sunset every day. So it's very disturbing, but thank you so much, Kelly. I'm so excited for this next series. Hopefully I'll be done with this one in time to move on to new embroidery. Before I share the description for tonight's reading with you all, I just want to express my gratitude for this series as we're closing another session and starting a new one. Yeah, just thanks to the team. Thank you, Lauren and Jen and Cindy, and thank you, Emily and Stefano, for your incredible video and sound work this series. So yeah, I'm excited to close it up and start a new one, even though it's always bittersweet. But yeah, we're closing this series with a call that we may respond to in language through action. So Kimmer invites us, or her writing invites us, it's a call to use our words, which are both a gift and a responsibility of humans. Words keep stories alive and inspire new ones. They may construct a world we might bring into being, a world that gives back to the earth. Words may create a new song to dance to, a dance for the renewal of the world. And so I'm really excited to read these selections for tonight, and just end this beautiful series. And I'll pass it to Emily now for screen share.
Thanks, Izzy. I'll bring up the first chapter. We have 2 chapters tonight. I'll bring up the first one.
People of corn, people of light. The story of our relationship to the earth is written more truthfully on the land than on the page. It lasts there. The land remembers what we said and what we did. Stories are among the most potent tools for restoring the land, as well as our relationship to land. We need to unearth the old stories that live in a place and begin to create new ones, for we are story makers, not just storytellers. All stories are connected, new ones woven from the threads of the old. One of the ancestor stories that waits for us to listen again with new ears is the Mayan story of creation. It's said that in the beginning, there was emptiness. The divine beings, the great thinkers, imagined the world into existence, simply saying its name. The world was populated with a rich flora and fauna called into being by words. But the divine beings were not satisfied. Among the wonderful beings they had created, none were articulate. They could sing and squawk and growl, but none had voice to tell the story of their creation nor praise it. So the gods set about to make humans. The first humans, the gods, shaped of mud, but the gods were none too happy with the result. The people were not beautiful, they were ugly and ill-formed. They could not talk, they could barely walk, and certainly could not dance or sing the praises of the gods. They were so crumbly and clumsy and inadequate that they could not even reproduce and just melted away into the rain. So the gods tried again to make good people who would be givers of respect, givers of praise, providers and nurturers. To this end, they carved a man from wood and a woman from the pith of a reed. Oh, these were beautiful people, lithe and strong. They could talk and dance and sing. Clever people too. They learned to use the other beings, plants and animals for their own purposes. They made many things, farms and pottery and houses and nets to catch fish. As a result of their fine bodies and fine minds and hard work, these people reproduced and populated the world, filling it with their numbers.
But after a time, the all-seeing gods realized that these people's hearts were empty of compassion and love. They could sing and talk, but their words were without gratitude for the sacred gifts that they had received. These clever people did not know thanks or caring, and so endangered the rest of creation. The gods wished to end this failed experiment in humanity, and so they sent great catastrophes to the world. They sent a flood and earthquakes, and most importantly, they loosed the retaliation of the other species. The previously mute trees and fish and clay were given voices for their grief and anger at the disrespect shown them by the humans made of wood. Trees raged against the humans for their sharp axes, the deer for their arrows, and even the pots made of earth and clay rose up in anger for the times they had been carelessly burnt. All of the misused members of creation rallied together and destroyed the people made of wood in self-defense. Once again, the gods tried to make human beings, but this time purely of light, the sacred energy of the sun. These humans were dazzling to behold, 7 times the color of the sun, beautiful, smart, and very, very powerful. They knew so much that they believed they knew everything. Instead of being grateful to the creators for their gifts, they believed themselves to be the gods' equals. The divine beings understood the danger posed by these people made of light, and once more arranged for their demise.
And so the gods tried again to fashion humans who would live right in the beautiful world they had created. In respect and gratitude and humility, from 2 baskets of corn, yellow and white, they ground a fine meal mixed with water and shaped a people made of corn. They were fed on corn liquor, and oh, these were God people. They could dance and sing, and they had words to tell stories and offer up prayers. Their hearts were filled with compassion for the rest of the creation. They were wise enough to be grateful. The gods had learned their lesson, so to protect the corn people from the overpowering arrogance of the predecessors, the people made of light, they passed a veil before the eyes of the corn people, clouding their vision as breath clouds a mirror. The people of corn are the ones who were respectful and grateful for the world that sustained them. And so they were the people who were sustained upon the earth.
Of all the materials, why is it that people of corn would inherit the earth rather than people of mud or wood or light? Could it be that people made of corn are beings transformed? For what is corn, after all, but light transformed by relationship? Corn owes its existence to all 4 elements: earth, air, fire, and water. And corn is the product of relationship not only with the physical world, but with people too. The sacred plant of our origin created people, and people created corn, a great agricultural innovation from its teosynth ancestor. Corn cannot exist without us to sow it and tend its growth. Our beings are joined in an obligate symbiosis. From these reciprocal acts of creation arise the elements that were missing from the other attempts to create sustainable humanity: gratitude and a capacity for reciprocity. I've read and loved this story as a history of sorts, a recounting of how, in long ago times, just at the edge of knowing, people were made of maize and lived happily ever after. But in many indigenous ways of knowing, time is not a river, but a lake in which the past, the present, and the future exist. Creation, then, is an ongoing process, and the story is not history alone, it is also prophecy. Have we already become people of corn? Or are we still people made of wood? Are we people made of light, in thrall to our own power? Are we not yet transformed by relationship to earth? Perhaps this story could be a user's manual for understanding how we become people of corn. The Popol Vuh, the Mayan sacred text in which this story is contained, is perceived as more than just a chronicle. As David Suzuki notes in The Wisdom of the Elders, the Mayan stories are understood as an ilbal, a precious seeing instrument or lens with which to view our sacred relationships. He suggests that such stories may offer us a corrective lens. But while our indigenous stories are rich in wisdom and we need to hear them, I do not advocate their wholesale appropriation. As the world changes, an immigrant culture must write its own new stories of relationship to place, a new Ilbal, but tempered by the wisdom of those who were old on this land long before we came. So how then can science, art, and story give us a new lens to understand the relationship that people made of corn represent? Someone once said that sometimes a fact alone is a poem. Just so, the people of corn are embedded in a beautiful poem, written in the language of chemistry. The first stanza goes like this: carbon dioxide plus water combined in the presence of light and chlorophyll in the beautiful membrane-bound machinery of life yields sugar and oxygen. Photosynthesis, in other words, in which air, light, and water are combined out of nothingness into sweet morsels of sugar, the stuff of redwoods and daffodils and corn. Straw spun to gold, water turned to wine. Photosynthesis is the link between the inorganic realm and the living world, making the inanimate live. At the same time, it gives us oxygen. Plants give us food and breath. Here's the second stanza, the same as the first, but recited backward. Sugar combined with oxygen in the beautiful membrane-bound machinery of life called the mitochondria yields us right back where we began, carbon dioxide and water. Respiration, the source of energy that lets us farm and dance and speak. The breath of plants gives life to animals, and the breath of animals gives life to plants. My breath is your breath is mine. It's the great poem of give and take, of reciprocity that animates the world. Isn't that a story worth telling? Only when people understand the symbiotic relationships that sustain them can they become people of corn, capable of gratitude and reciprocity. The very facts of the world are a poem. Light is turned to sugar. Salamanders find their way to ancestral ponds, following magnetic lines radiating from the earth. The saliva of grazing buffalo causes the grass to grow taller. Tobacco seeds germinate when they smell smoke. Microbes in industrial waste can destroy mercury. Aren't these stories we should all know? Who is it who holds them? In long ago times, it was the elders who carried them. In the 21st century, it is often scientists who first hear them. The stories of buffalo and salamanders belong to the land, but scientists are one of the translators and carry a large responsibility for conveying their stories to the world.
And yet, scientists mostly convey these stories in a language that excludes readers. Conversations for efficiency and precision make reading specific papers very difficult for the rest of the world. And if the truth be known, for us as well, this has serious consequences for public dialogue about the environment and therefore for real democracy, especially the democracy of all species. For what good is knowing unless it is coupled with caring? Science can give us knowing, but caring comes from someplace else. I think it's fair to say that if the Western world has an ilbal, it is science. Science lets us see the dance of the chromosomes, the leaves of moss, and the furthest, excuse me, farthest galaxy. But it is, but is it a sacred lens like the Popol Vuh? Does science allow us to perceive the sacred in the world, or does it bend light in such a way as to obscure it? A lens that brings the material world into focus but blurs the spiritual is the lens of a people made of wood. It is not more data that we need for our transformation to people of corn, but more wisdom. While science could be a source of and repository for knowledge, the scientific worldview is all too often an enemy of ecological compassion. It is important in thinking about this lens to separate two ideas that are too often synonymous in the mind of the public: the practice of science and scientific worldview that it feeds. Science is the process of revealing the world through rational inquiry. The practice of doing real science brings the questioner into an unparalleled intimacy with nature, fraught with wonder and creativity as we try to comprehend the mysteries of the more than human world. Trying to understand the life of another being or another system so unlike our own is often humbling and, for many scientists, is a deeply spiritual pursuit. Contrasting with this is the scientific worldview, in which a culture uses the process of interpreting science in a cultural context that uses science and technology to reinforce reductionist, materialist, economic, and political agendas. I maintain that the destructive lens of the people made of wood is not science itself, but the lens of the scientific worldview, the illusion of dominance and control, the separation of knowledge from responsibility. I dream of a world guided by a lens of stories rooted in the revelations of science and framed with an indigenous worldview. Stories in which matter and spirit are both given voice.
Scientists are particularly good at learning about the lives of other species. The stories they could tell convey the intrinsic values of the lives of other beings, lives every bit as interesting, maybe more so, as those of Homo sapiens. Both, but while scientists are among those who are privy to these other intelligence, many seem to believe that the intelligence they access is only their own. They lack the fundamental ingredient, humility. After the gods experimented with arrogance, they gave the people of corn humility, and it takes humility to learn from other species. In the indigenous view, humans are viewed as somewhat lesser beings in the democracy of species. We are referred to as the younger brothers of creation. So like younger brothers, we must learn from our elders. Plants were here first and have had a long time to figure things out. They live both above and below ground and hold the earth in place. Plants know how to make food from light and water. Not only do they feed themselves, but they make enough to sustain the lives of all the rest of us. Plants are providers for the rest of the community and exemplify the virtue of generosity, always offering food. What if Western scientists saw plants as their teachers rather than subjects? What if they told stories with that lens? Many indigenous peoples share the understanding that we are each endowed with a particular gift, a unique ability. Birds to sing and stars to glitter, for instance. It is understood that these gifts have a dual nature, though. A gift is also a responsibility. If the bird's gift is a song, then it has a responsibility to greet the day with music. It is the duty of birds to sing and the rest of us to receive the song as a gift. Asking what is our responsibility is perhaps also to ask, what is our gift and how shall we use it? Stories like the ones about the people of corn give us guidance both to recognize the world as a gift and to think how we might respond. The people of mud and wood and light all lacked gratitude and the sense of reciprocity that flowed from it. It was only the people of corn, people transformed by awareness of their gifts and responsibilities, who were sustained on the earth. Gratitude comes first, for gratitude alone is not enough. Other beings are known to be specially gifted with attributes that humans lack. Other beings can fly, see at night, rip open trees with their claws, make maple syrup. What can humans do? We may not have the wings or leaves, but we humans do have words. Language is our gift and our responsibility. I've come to think of writing as an act of reciprocity with the living land. Words to remember old stories, words to tell new ones, stories that bring science and spirit back together to nurture our becoming people made of corn.
Thanks, Kavi, and thanks, readers. I'm just going to take a moment to jump ahead to the next section now. That concludes our first section. Here we are at the next section.
Epilogue. Returning the gift. Red over green, raspberries bead the thicket on a summer afternoon. The blue jay picking on the other side of this patch has a beak as red-stained as my fingers, which go to my mouth as often as to the bowl. I reach under the brambles for a dangling cluster, and there in the dappled shade is a grinning turtle, shin deep in fallen fruit, stretching his neck up for more. I'll let his berries be. The earth has plenty and offers us abundance, spreading her gifts over the green, strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, cherries, currants, that we might fill our bowls. Niibin, we call summer in Potawatomi, the time of plenty, and also time for our tribal gathering, for powwows and for ceremony. Red over green, the blankets spread on the grass beneath the arbor are piled high with gifts. Basketballs and furled umbrellas, peyote-stitched keychains, and Ziploc bags of wild rice. Everybody lines up to choose a gift while the hosts stand by, beaming. The teenagers are dispatched to carry choice items to elders seated in the circle, too frail to navigate the crowd. Megwich, the thank yous circle among us. Ahead of me, a toddler, besotted with abundance, grabs a whole armload. Her mother bends and whispers in her ear. She stands indecisive for a moment and lays it all back down, save a neon yellow squirt gun.
And then we dance. The drum begins the giveaway song, and everyone joins the circle in regalia of swaying fringe, nodding feathers, rainbow shawls, t-shirts, and jeans. The ground resonates with the fall of moccasined feet. Each time the song circles around to the honor beats, we dance in place and raise the gifts above our heads, waving necklaces, baskets, and stuffed animals, whooping to honor the gifts and the givers. Amid the laughter and the singing, everyone belongs. This is our traditional giveaway. The Minediwak, an old ceremony, well loved by our people and a frequent feature of powwows. In the outside world, people who are celebrating life events can look forward to receiving presents in their honor. In the Potawatomi way, this expectation is turned upside down. It is the honored one who gives the gifts, who piles the blanket high to share good fortune with everyone in the circle. Often, if the giveaway is small and personal, every gift will be handmade. Sometimes a whole community might work all year long to fashion the presents for guests they do not even know. For a big intertribal gathering with hundreds of people, the blanket is likely to be a blue plastic tarp strewn with gleanings from the discount bins at Walmart. No matter what the gift is, a black ash basket or a pot holder, the sentiment is the same. The ceremonial giveaway is an echo of our oldest teachings. Generosity is simultaneously a moral and a material imperative, especially among people who live close to the land and know its waves of plenty and scarcity, where the well-being of one is linked to the well-being of all. Wealth among traditional people is measured by having enough to give away. Hoarding the gift, we become constipated with wealth, bloated with possessions, and too heavy to join the dance. Sometimes there's someone, maybe even a whole family, who doesn't understand and takes too much. They heap up their acquisitions besides their lawn chairs. Maybe they need it, maybe not. They don't dance, but sit alone, guarding their stuff. In a culture of gratitude, everyone knows that gifts will follow the circle of reciprocity and flow back to you again. This time you give, and next time you receive. Both honor the giving and the humility of both the honor of giving and the humility of receiving are necessary halves of the equation. The grass in the ring is trodden down in a path from gratitude to reciprocity. We dance in a circle, not in a line.
After the dance, a little boy in a grass dance outfit tosses down his new toy truck, already tired of it. His dad makes him pick it up and then sits him down. A gift is different from something you buy, possessed of meaning outside its material boundaries. You never dishonor the gift. A gift asks something of you. You take care of it, and something more. I don't know the origin of the giveaway, but I think that we learned it from watching the plants, especially the berries who offer up their gifts all wrapped in red and blue. We may forget the teacher, but our language remembers. Our word for the giveaway, Minnedoak, means they give from the heart. At the word's center lives the word min. Min is a root word for gift, but it is also the word for berry. In the poetry of our language, might speaking of Minnedoak remind us to be as the berries? The berries are always present at our ceremonies. They join us in a wooden bowl, one big bowl and one big spoon, which are passed around the circle, so that each person can taste the sweetness, remember the gifts, and say thank you. They carry the lesson passed to us by our ancestors, and the generosity of the land comes to us as one bowl, one spoon. We are all fed from the same bowl that Mother Earth has filled for us. It's not just about the berries, but also about the bowl. The gifts of the earth are to be shared, but gifts are not limitless. The generosity of the earth is not an invitation to take it all. Every bowl has a bottom. When it's empty, and there is but one spoon, the same size for everyone. How do we refill the empty bowl? Is gratitude alone enough? Berries teach us otherwise. When berries spread out their giveaway blanket, offering their sweetness to birds and bears and boys alike, the transaction does not end there. Something beyond gratitude is asked of us. The berries trust that we will uphold our end of the bargain and disperse their seeds to new places to grow, which is good for berries and for boys. They remind us that all flourishing is mutual. We need the berries and the berries need us. Their gifts multiply by our care for them and dwindle from our neglect. We are bound in a covenant of reciprocity, a pact of mutual responsibility to sustain those who sustain us. And so the empty bowl is filled.
Somewhere along the line, though, people have abandoned berry teachings. Instead of selling richness, we diminish the possibilities for the future at every turn. But the uncertain path to the future could be illuminated by language. In Potawatomi, we speak of the land as Eminog, that which has been given to us. In English, we speak of the land as natural resources or ecosystem services, as if the lives of others were our property. But if the earth were not a bowl of berries, and as if the earth were not a bowl of berries, but an open pit mine, and the spoon a gouging shovel. Imagine that being our neighbors or holding a giveaway. Someone broke into their house to take whatever that he wanted. We would be outraged at the moral trespass. So it should be for the earth. The earth gives away for free the power of wind and sun and water, but instead we break open the earth to take fossil fuels. Had we taken only that which is given to us, had we reciprocated the gift, we would not have to fear our own atmosphere today. We are all bound by a covenant of reciprocity. Plant breath for animal breath, winter and summer, predator and prey, grass and fire, day and night and day, living and dying. Water knows this, clouds know this, soil and rocks know they are dancing in a continuous giveaway of making, unmaking, and making again the earth. Our elders say that ceremony is the way we can remember to remember. In the dance of the giveaway, remember that the earth is a gift that we must pass on, just as it came to us. When we forget the dances, will be for mourning, for the passing of polar bears, the silence of the cranes, for the death of rivers, and the memory of snow.
When I close my eyes and wait for my heartbeat to match the drum, I envision people recognizing for perhaps the first time the dazzling gifts of the world, seeing them with new eyes, just as they teeter on the cusp of undoing. Maybe just in time, or maybe too late. Spread on the grass, green over brown, they will honor at last the giveaway from Mother Earth. Blankets of moss, robes of feathers, baskets of corn, and vials of healing herbs. Silver salmon, agate beaches, sand dunes, thunderheads, and snowdrifts. Cords of wood and herds of elk, tulips, potatoes, luna moths, and snow geese and berries. More than anything, I want to hear a great song of thanks rise on the wind. I think that song might save us. And then, as the drum begins, we will dance, wearing regalia in celebration of the earth, a waving fringe. Of tall grass prairie, a whirl of butterfly shawls with nodding plumes of egrets jeweled with the glitter of phosphorescent wave. When the song pauses for the honor beats, we'll hold high our gifts and ululate their praises. A shining fish, a branch of blossoms, and a starlit night. The moral covenant of reciprocity calls us to honor our responsibilities for all we have been given, for all that we have taken. It's our turn now, long overdue. Let us hold a giveaway for Mother Earth, spread our blankets out for her, and pile them high with gifts of our own making. Imagine the books, the paintings, the poems, the clever machines, the passionate acts, the transcendent ideas, the perfect tools, the fierce defense of all that has been given. Gifts of mind, hands, heart, voice, and vision, all offered up on behalf of the earth. Whatever our gift, we are called to give it and to dance for the renewal of the world in return for the privilege of breath.
I wanted to share with everyone a Hawaiian creation chant, which I think say a lot. It's called the Kumulipo, and I'll read it in Hawaiian and then in English. O ke au ai kahuli vela ka hanua. O ke au ai kahuli lole ka lani. O ke au ai kukai ka la e u mala ma I ka malama o ke au o makali I ka po o ka vale ho o kumu honoa ia o ke kumu o ka lipo I lipo ai o ke kumu o ka po I po ai o ka lipo o ka lipo o ka lipo o ka la o ka lipo o ka po vale hoi hanau ka po. At the time that turned the heat of the earth, at the time when the heavens turned and changed, at the time when the light of the sun was subdued to cause light to break forth, at the time of the night of Makali'i, winter, then began the slime which established the earth, the source of deepest darkness, of the depth of darkness, of the depth of darkness, of the darkness of the sun, in the depth of the night. It is night, so was night born.
Really love this section, the kind of the poetry of the words and descriptions she uses, and the two kind of ideas that stuck out with humans have a responsibility to use our gifts of language, and then the idea of reciprocity and that line of we dance in a circle and not in a line, of just kind of time being more cyclical and not linear, and also thinking about just a juxtaposition between the line dance and even dancing in circles, or having that kind of circle of exchange and generosity and gratitude, and coming back to appreciation, and whatever you gift in that gratitude or in the exchange, it seemed like you would eventually come back. So it's like that way of whatever you dish out, you'll get served in return, and that idea of kind of karmic justice in the same way as well, and keeping balance. This is really beautiful.
The covenant of reciprocity. I thought that was such an incredible phrase.
I really appreciated the discussion of berries as a symbol of nature's generosity because they're one of my favorite foods. And so I could personally really relate to that idea of something that is so amazing and delicious and sweet, naturally occurring as if by magic. And I thought that was a beautiful story about the use of those berries in the ritual of the dance and sharing that everyone eats from the same spoon.
I was just thinking about how beautiful it was to listen to your Hawaiian language speaking and its rhythms, and then to hear you read the meaning of what you were saying. It just sort of made me think about how storytelling can be energy work, and sometimes you know what the words are and sometimes you don't, but you can definitely feel it. So thank you, Izzy, for broadening my horizon of this particular amazing energy work reading to yet another dimension.
Of course, it was my pleasure. I definitely mispronounced a couple of the words, but I love that creation chant and the rhythm to it, and thinking about language and rhythm and dance and ceremony of life, storytelling. It felt like a fitting enchantment for the night. So thank you for letting me share.
Great word, enchantment.
Yeah. Really is.
I wanted to thank you too, Izzy. That was so lovely. Hawaii is it's so ingrained in everything over there. I spent quite a bit of time in the 90s, the late 90s. And it just so reminded me of how appreciation and reverence of nature is just woven into everything on the islands. And there was a woman named Jane on Kauai who her whole livelihood and who she was about taking people to treasured places on Kauai so that they could be in ceremony with the water and the land and the earth and the creatures and themselves. And for almost everyone, it was a completely like original, mind-blowing concept to be in harmony with nature, because most everyone came from the mainland, you know. And so I'm really appreciating, you know, how far I think and hope we've come. Anyway, some of us where it's just not completely foreign to a lot of folks to be in that harmony, but I really appreciated you. I just felt it. I could feel the mist and the moisture of Lihui and the coast there. So thank you. It was delicious.
I'll open the door in a second. Oh, yeah. So just I'll bring them down. And then, yeah. And then,
Bye, everyone.
My interspecies companion loved it too. Here he is.
Thank you. That was so wonderful, everybody at Malabotic team. Love you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Izzy. That was magical.
Thank you.
You are a magnet for quality.
My inner Capricorn loves to hear that. Thank you.
You are. We need to make an NFT of you so that the whole world can own a fraction of your quality magnetism.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening, everyone. Thanks,
Bye,
Jen.
everybody.
Bye. See you
Bye.
later.